How's it going, guys? Good morning, good afternoon. RC Journey here. I believe when we left off on the WPL C-24 build, we were trying to get to here. So I just wanted to let you guys know. Had a couple people asking about what side to put that spacer on. And it's up to you guys. You guys are going to have to decide for yourself. Now, if you can push this in all the way and it feels rough, then you might want to split that 1/16 of an inch and put one on the inside behind the gear and one on the outside, because there's a lot of space here. You might even be able to get away with drilling the inside of the drive shaft out some. Now be careful, because this plastic's fragile, so be real careful when you're drilling it out, because everything on this thing's fragile, so you gotta be real careful. So if you do just own one, definitely look into metal upgrades at the English version of Taobao, which I will have in the comments below. So like I said, you might be able to get away with drilling this drive shaft out and then pushing that shaft more into the drive shaft and, using super glue. So it's up to you guys however you want to go about modding this thing or doing little tweaks to it to make it better. Now you can see I kind of jumped ahead. I do have the shocks mounted. We are going to mount this lower link. So here it is. And as you can see, the small spot snaps right into that bottom hole. Like that. And then the other part slides right around it, just like that. And then you're going to use #1 screws, but before you put a screw on the bottom side, the shock comes over and hugs it. And then you put a #1 screw there to button the shock up. And then the shock's going to mount in the middle hole. I wanted to add, you do want to get these shocks mounted up before you put the center chassis bracing in, because of the way you got to get to these screws and put them in and out. So that's what we're looking like up to this point. Now I wanted to throw in a couple of things. You can take the servo horns that come with the bag of stuff and trim it down some. And then you can use it to mount your servo. Now this is going to go at the front of the truck. This is where the servo mounts and most of your electronics. Now you can see when I left the video #1, this had a bunch of plastic in it, and I was talking about grinding it down. I already did that. So it provides more space for electronics, and it just looks much better. So there's a little groove right there that your servo arm is going to snap down in, and it should pretty much make a clicking sound, just like that, nice and flush. And then if you can see that hole there and that hole there is where this guy with the rubber mounts on the bottom is going to mount up. And then you get that nice and snug. And that's enough to hold that servo in place, especially with it snapping down. Now you're going to use two #1 screws to mount your motor down into your transmission down into your transmission housing. Now we are to the point where we can take this transmission housing and get it mounted up right there in the middle. Now what I would start with is only doing screws down one side, and then do your rear bracing, and then do your front bracing, and then flip it over once your drive shafts are inserted with each other, and then flip it over and then run your screws down the other side. Alrighty. So that's what it's looking like with the bracing. Now I don't have the drag bar or link or steering link mounted yet. So now we are to the point if you wanted to plug everything in, which I'm just using an Axial SCX10 AR3 if my camera would ever zoom in. So steering is channel 1 at the bottom, and then throttle's channel 2. So go ahead and plug your throttle in, your steering in, and then of course your motor into your speed controller. And I am using the Mayabachi 180s. I just found they deliver more torque. And then I'm using these small batteries. Provide more than enough run time and power. And they're tiny, as you can see. So let me plug these right up real quick. And we should, even though it looks like a ragged mess, not bad, no binding, everything's working. I will need to charge that battery. So that's the sign that everything's working, and like I said, no binding. I could give you a quick run through of this C14 over here. As you see, I do have where the hood comes up on it, and I have a skid plate as well, and I was using all thread, slowly replacing the plastic. And I definitely am going to do a video showing the capabilities of this truck compared to the other one. If you can see, I do have a panhard bar in there, because it's got quite a bit of chassis wobble when you're steering. And I turned the WPL B26 into a Dakar truck. So coming soon in the track of my backyard, a video of this guy racing around. I gotta wait for my stickers to come in and do a little bit of final touches, put some lights on it. But that's what's fun about these trucks, is they're so cheap and you can do anything with them. Of course the 6x6 build is next. Man, I can't wait for that. Now I did want to do a real quick walkthrough on how this body was assembled, because there's a lot of detail to it. So for those of you who don't have instructions, that's how you assemble the body. You put the skid plate up to the door and you put the screws in from the inside. I don't explain that very well. And that's what the bottom part looks like. So your toolbox still gets mounted into the back and is a battery cover still. And all of these click into place. In order for the back to slide open, you mount this onto the top with two number 1 screws, and it allows the back to pivot open like a door or hopper glass. So I wanted to get right into there. These little black things are your door handles. Now of course one's going to go there. It's going to snap into place. And one is also going to go here. If you want to, you can put a little dab of super glue on the back side And then that's how that snaps into place. And then these pop in as well, fairly easily. Just be real careful because of how fragile all this stuff is. So better safe than sorry. Just be real careful, take your time, and eventually it'll pop in place. So you got the tonneau cover, and then of course the interior snaps down in there like that. And that's just little pieces of half-cut circle paper with writing on them. So wherever your imagination takes you. And I will save the stickers for last. And the clear lens slides up in there like so. And then this slides up in there. Make sure it's pinched on the sides. Just like that. And then you take two #1 screws right there. And then once your interior slides in, you're going to get two #1 screws right here and right there once your interior pops in. So yeah, these builds are fairly simple. Now that I got the servo mounted up, you can go ahead and tuck your electronics under there because you have more room under here than you do on top of here and under the hood. So tuck your small speed controller in and your receiver. If not, you'll have plenty of room in there, depending on what receiver you're using. That's why I like the Axial SCX10 one. And then of course here's the front bumper. And you're going to pop your lenses in like so. If you don't drop it, pop your lens in. And then your front's done. Of course the shell, it shows in the description that your rearview mirrors slide in. And you have more door handles to go in. And then this snaps in as well, no screws, your snorkel. And then your windshield wipers, once everything's said and done, get pushed into place. And so you're not looking for stuff on the trail, I would go ahead and put a little bit of super glue or hot glue on the back side. And it did come with a little book of stickers, so you can put your stickers wherever you want. I used the orange paint marker, so I will not be using these blinkers. Use the orange paint marker for the side, and then I use the orange paint marker for the front. But you do have these tail light stickers, and then the tail light lenses to pop on after you put the sticker on. So I'll definitely get that all the way built up, and once everything's snapped together and I cross my T's and dot my lowercase j's, there will be a running video. I just wanted to get you guys up to par, and if you get a little confused, go ahead and look at a couple of my previous videos. But these trucks are fairly simple, can get confusing at times, and I know the 6x6 is going to take a couple more videos, so I'm definitely going to dive right into that and get at it right about meow. So you guys have a good rest of the day, afternoon, morning, and I will have another video coming up as soon as possible. Thank you very much for the support. See you guys.